So here we are with another impulsive video. I told this story a couple of years ago, and I'm going to try to come out with a better, more meaningful version of it. So I had a girlfriend, my first girlfriend, lost my virginity to, all that good stuff. We didn't date for very long. It was like 6 months or something. But we connected on eventually, like it just kind of started. We went to high school together. One thing led to another, blah, blah, blah. But eventually we connected on our suicidal ideation. And we talked about that. And first thing I'm going to say, the suicide method that she told me she would use when we were together is the same suicide method that she actually used however many years later it was, 2 or 3 years later, after we had been broken up. So I talked about feeling guilty, but I didn't really fully explain why. So I wanted to kind of talk about that. So, we were together, we broke up. She got pregnant very shortly after we broke up. And, she had her kid. She ended up going to another school. And eventually, things were pretty, we really didn't like each other. We really didn't like each other for a little while. And eventually we had become friendly again. And she, we were friends. We saw each other once in a while. And she had tried to get back together with me. And this was, we dated like junior year of high school, and this was, I think, my freshman year. Yeah, this happened. Well, she committed suicide the summer after my freshman year of college. So, my first year, freshman year, kind of all this was going on, where she was trying to get back together with me. And here's why I feel guilty. I talked about, well, let me just start at the beginning. So I got the sense, and, kind of looking back at it after the fact, she was having a hard time. There were a lot of guys that didn't want to be with her because she had a child. I got that sense, and, I was one of them. I was 20 and just didn't want that responsibility, couldn't handle that responsibility. I had goals. I was going to school, playing soccer, was kind of trying to work towards my future at that point. But like I said, we remain friendly, and hadn't seen her for a couple months. And then there was 1 week where she wanted to hang out, and I was taking a summer class. And she wanted to hang out. I was going to go hang out with her after class, and then she canceled on the last minute. And I forget why, but I knew, oh, that's right, she made something up at the last minute, having to do her son. And I knew her well enough to know that she wasn't doing too well. I knew her well enough to know that the excuse she gave me was a lie. I thought about just going there, but I didn't. I didn't because, I had finally realized that it wasn't my job to save this person's life. Also, I had to prioritize my own life. That's why I didn't go that day. And that's why, I couldn't be with her. And the where the guilt comes from came from. I don't feel guilty today. I realized that I had to look out for myself in this situation. So if anybody's going to send a comment saying, no, you can't feel guilty, you've got to forgive yourself, I'm past that. But it took a while, and the thing that made me feel guilty is that I probably had the power to probably did have the power to save her life if I was gonna sacrifice everything that, I just told you about. My goals and, my ambitions and all that. She was desperate to kind of get out of her situation. And, I'm not saying it would have solved. At the very least, I could have prolonged her, maybe, probably made her somewhat okay. And this is just a possibility. Or at least it's just how I felt, that I could have given her that whatever comfort and support that she needed at that time that she didn't have. She had problems with her family. She was struggling in a lot of ways. And knowing that I could have helped and didn't after things ended up the way they ended up, she ended up committing suicide a week after that day that we were supposed to hang out. So I probably should have told that. Skipped over that little detail, but I mean, you see the title. But I was very much starting to get into kind of like this bachelor type mindset, and didn't want to be with someone that had a kid, didn't want to, she just wasn't going to be able to provide the lifestyle that I wanted. And it kind of made me feel selfish, I guess, and guilty, because of the way things turned out. And that guilt lasted a long time. But, the other detail in this story, I just happened to have come across my first experience with opiates about a month after this happened. And then, that guilt and the drugs being there to alleviate that and everything else, like all my other issues that I had. Granted, things weren't all that bad at that time, but it was like the perfect storm that kind of led to this very, very long period of, drug addiction and dereliction and isolation and just really, really bad stuff. I mean, there were periods here and there, but this was mostly about the situation with the suicide and the guilt. And really, I wanted to tell it this way to hopefully maybe help somebody that is dealing with guilt from a similar situation where somebody took their own life and they felt like they could have done something. You can never know, and you can't feel guilty for wanting to put yourself first. We all have friends and family that we want to take care of and that we want the best for and that we want to be there for, but you can't feel guilty for wanting to make a life for yourself, wanting to look out for yourself, and prioritizing your own well-being. So hope this helps somebody, maybe entertain somebody, not really in the usual kind of entertaining way, but like I said, just wanted to tell this story again. So catch you guys in the next one.